Welcome back to Indiana is Ag+Bio+Science, presented by AgriNovus Indiana and Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gerry Dick, the host of this weekly podcast where we talk about the convergence of food, agriculture, science, and technology and the impact it is having on Indiana. Very pleased this week to have as our guest from Fort Wayne, Gil Farley. Gil is the CEO of Biodyne USA. And Gil, welcome. Thanks for coming down I-69.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, let's talk about Biodyne USA, a family-owned business. Talk about the roots, the development in Biodyne USA.
So Biodyne itself was discovered in 1989. It's a family business. My uncle is a microbiologist who developed these technologies. My father also worked in the business before he passed. Things were done on a very small scale, and it's an environmental biotechnology company. So basically, we work with beneficial microorganisms to help the environment in and outside of agriculture. So this technology was developed in '89. We work with teams of microorganisms, and then in 2012, we started the commercial arm of this company, which is Biodyne USA, and we've been growing ever since.
A little bit about your background, because you are a Florida native, arrived in Indiana, Fort Wayne in particular, to play basketball, right?
Yes, sir. It's a kind of an interesting story because I grew up really on the beach in Florida. So when I came to Indiana back in 1990, there were three things I had never seen. One was a corn plant, two was a soybean plant, and three was snow. So I got an awakening very quickly because I came up in the fall to all three. So my background is not in agriculture. I came and played basketball, started a family, and have been in Indiana ever since, going on 25 years. So slowly but surely, I'm definitely a Hoosier at this point.
Yeah, very good. The plant science is certainly one of the most exciting segments of the Ag+Bio+Sciences clusters. All kinds of cutting-edge technologies coming, gene editing, phenotyping, new biologics, all kinds of interesting technologies. This is the space where Biodyne is really leading in. Can you talk a little bit more about innovation in the space and why you see this holding so much potential?
Sure. It's a really exciting time in the world of agriculture for some of these sustainable technologies. You know, we're all our goal is to be able to create a sustainable environment. So, you know, in the year 2050, we're projected to be over 9 billion people. So the key is going to be how are we going to feed everyone efficiently and maximize production out there in the world. And, you know, our technology is really based around beneficial microbiology. So we work with teams of organisms. We've isolated that all do very specialized things in that root zone for these plants to help them grow more efficiently, more sustainably, create a more vigorous ecosystem, a more sustainable situation, and frankly, a better immune system for that plant. It's kind of like a probiotic for the soil is what we're doing.
Yeah. And expand on that, because that was my next question for you. One of your key messages is the importance of soil health and sustainability. Why is that so important?
You know, it's very interesting because we really have modified our message to really talk about soil health. Some of the things we're seeing with our biostimulant technologies and the impacts it's having on the soil has been really remarkable. You know, everybody thinks about the soil feeding the plant, but we also got to think about the plant actually feeds the soil too. It's really a dynamic coexistence, and it's a cycle where the plant is feeding the soil is feeding the plant. And if you can create an ecosystem where everything is in balance, it really makes things a lot more efficient and a lot more sustainable. We talk about Farm 365. Farming is a 365-day-a-year activity. It's not just during the season because the soil is alive 365 days a year, and our goal is to enhance that soil to create better soil health.
You talk about the world's population growth, the need to feed the world, if you will, and to do it on a smaller footprint. In your view, and you're certainly a company with a presence here in Indiana, how do you view Indiana's potential to be a real player in that whole world hunger, feeding the world scenario?
I certainly think Indiana can be not only a player but a leader when it comes to that, especially what's going on with groups such as AgriNovus, which we are very proud to be a part of. We champion the ag business sector and the Ag+Bio+Sciences sector in the state of Indiana all the time. We do business all across the USA, and we always champion where we're from, what's going on in Indiana, and with the presence of companies and talent that's in our borders, I think we have a really opportunity to be a shining light when it comes to leadership around this idea of sustainability and producing more with less.
How about and you mentioned being a supporter and of a member of AgriNovus. One of the things that has impressed me from the beginning of AgriNovus, once from the day it was launched, there seems to have been this groundswell of support from companies, from academic institutions, the public sector. Everyone seems to be kind of behind this idea, and that ultimately has to be nothing, I would assume, but positive.
Absolutely. I think the groundswell of support for AgriNovus is really a hallmark of what the organization is trying to do. Mm-hmm. In my mind, it's about an educational awareness out there of what Ag+Bio+Science is really, what the definition really is. So many people think of agriculture as simply farming. Obviously, that's the backbone of agriculture, but there's so many other technologies involved. You have biotechnology, you have microbiology, you have drones, you have precision farming. I mean, there's all these different cool aspects to it. And that's one thing we talk about, is trying to make agricultural cool, especially to the younger generation, because that's the future. And I really believe AgriNovus is championing that message.
What's your view on the whole workforce situation? Because you mentioned some of the careers in agriculture that are out there, that are many, that are varied, that are pretty cool. But you talk to ag officials and they say, look, we've got all these jobs in the pipeline. There aren't enough kids coming out of college, graduates, to fill those jobs. How important is that need to get that message out as to the kinds of jobs that are out there in agriculture?
I think it's critical. I mean, I think it's incumbent on us as business leaders and as members of the Ag+Bio+Sciences community to pay it back or get that message out there. We have some great collegiate programs. Obviously, we have Purdue. Ivy Tech has great programs in agriculture. Up by us, there's Huntington University does some really good things. So I think it's very important to interact with them and foster the development of some of those kids to create that awareness and that excitement.
Yeah, you mentioned Huntington University. I know they started an ag program that I think they're continuing to grow and expand. Just a few years ago, probably a great example of an Indiana college saying, look, we can play a role here and fill a niche.
Absolutely. They do a great job, and we've been doing some work with them and doing some things with their student population as well. And we're super excited about what they're bringing to the table as far as for us in the future to be able to hopefully hire some of those talented kids.
Yeah. You've clearly made that leap from startup to scale-up business. What advice would you give to other Ag+Bio+Sciences startups hoping to achieve that growth?
It's interesting. Every situation is different. Obviously, each company has trials and tribulations and learning experiences, and certainly we have had ours. We've been in existence with BioIn USA for going on 6 or 7 years, and you're right. We went from a startup. We're now a scale-up, where it turns in from an idea or an hobby, I guess, to an actual living, breathing animal as far as a business that needs to be fed every day. I would say one thing for startups and for people just starting out would be, follow your passion. If it's something you're passionate in and you have excitement about and you're hungry for, just let that lead you. There's tons of resources out there to help you, and do not be afraid to ask for help, ask for guidance, just ask for someone's perspective. And that is something that I think can really help bridge the gap from startup to scale up.
Final question for you, Gil. As you look at Biodyne USA going forward the next, say, 3 to 5 years, opportunities for growth, where do you see those?
Well, what we're really involved in now is identifying new technologies, not only as far as beneficial microorganisms, but now we're starting to put together packages with our beneficial microbes with other technologies that are out there in the biostimulant world to make a 1 + 1 = 3 situation. We're really focused on new and innovative ideas, technologies to help our customers, our farmers, really be more efficient. That's really what we're about, is increasing their soil health, helping them be more efficient, helping them do more with less, and create a more sustainable environment for the future. So we're really excited about where this market is going and where our company is positioned, and always look forward to interacting with like-minded professionals.
Very good. Well, hoops attracted Gil Farley from Florida to Indiana, but the Ag+Bio+Sciences sector is keeping him here, and we're happy about that. Gil Farley is the CEO of Biodyne USA, a Fort Wayne company. Gil, thanks for joining us this week.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that does it for another episode of the Ag+Bio+Science podcast. It's our look at food, agriculture, science, and technology, all coming together to impact the state of Indiana. I'm Gerry Dick. We'll see you next time.
This podcast is a product of Inside Indiana Business, hosted by Gerry Dick, produced by Libby Fritz and Joe Ullery, and was recorded on location at Launch Fishers. More people get Indiana business news from Inside Indiana Business than any other source.